That looks good.
Tracy, you are muted.
Oh, Tracy, I checked that you can't unmute it. You should be able to unmute now.
There we go.
Okay, I'm gonna admit everybody then, right?
Yeah,
Randy?
we're good. Yeah, you can let everybody in.
Okay, they're all joining.
Is it on?
Well, we've had some technical difficulties that we are resolving, so it should be there momentarily.
Zoom wanted extra logins, so we had to get them. Okay, doesn't look like anybody else is logging in.
Not at the moment, no. Okay.
Okay, so welcome Hammond North. It's November 19th for the regular board meeting. And apologize for the delay. We had extra passwords that Zoom was requiring to get into the program and open it up. So let's first call the attendance. Randy Vaughn,
Here.
Chris Conti,
Here,
Jan Welch,
Here?
Tim Fritz,
Here.
Tom Deeds,
Here.
Tracy Smiley.
Here.
Okay, so we're all here. All right, first order of business, I think, is approval of minutes. Randy?
Yeah, I have two sets of minutes that you've received. One is from October 15th. And then the other is the special board meeting that was on October 27th. And if I can do it together, I would ask for approval of both of those.
We have a second.
Second.
Tim seconds it. Any questions? All right. All those in favor of approving the minutes? Okay, it's unanimous. All right, the building manager's report. Greg can't make it, so I will read some of what he gave us. In response to a lot of other questions, he gave a detailed listing to the board, which we will post on the website since March of 2023. What were the deposits to the reserve savings? And there are two different accounts. Both of them are earning 3.5%, and that'll be posted. That does not include, as far as I know, the last deposit that we received 2 weeks ago, I believe, from Landmark. Both accounts earned $340,000 and $516 between March 23 and June 2025. Clearly, as we're progressing and getting more Landmark, this is just me, not a Greg's report, that amount of interest will increase. Then, and he says that the account balance and interest fluctuated throughout the period due to paying construction and fire-related invoices. The other comment, the section that Greg wants to read was staff scheduling update for the building. Tim Baldrek, current and going forward, Monday through Wednesday each week at the Hammond, working alternative location on Thursdays and Fridays. John Bird, November 25th, working Tuesday through Saturday, beginning the week of November 17th through the 28th, working Thursday through Friday each week at Hanford. Working alternative location Monday through Wednesday each week. In the summary, beginning December 1st, which is really only like less than 3 weeks away, Tim will be working Monday through Wednesday weekly for Hammond North, on call as needed for other days, and John Bird will be transferred to alternate location. For the office staff, Monday through Friday, mid-December through January, a date to be announced. Greg will begin working 1 day per week at our building, and remote for other days throughout the week as needed. Mickey, Monday through Friday until further notice until the sale of the building. She'll be working Monday through Friday. So that's the Greg's report. I don't know if there are any questions from the board. Jan?
Not a question, but I just want to mention that Greg worked really hard and to stay in budget and accomplish staying within budget, and in order to get assignments for Tim and John that worked for them. So I think that was to everybody's benefit.
Any other comments? Any comments from the owners about the report? Yeah, Randy.
There's a chat question. Why do we need all this staff and security during the day? Budget cuts, please, it says.
Well, I think this is reducing the staff from beyond. I think Tracy can comment on it from what we had on our budget. It's John and Tim are already part-time, and we had, I think, them both full-time for the period. And also, if you look at it, that we had Tim full-time through the end of the budget year, and this one, he's going to be alone in only 3 days a week. So I think we are cutting further. I think there's still a tremendous amount of work that the staff have to do. We have an election coming up, which we'll have a report on that. There's preparing ballots for that. I know that it's still preparing information on liens, on bills, and documentation. There's still plenty of work that the staff are doing.
And I'll add to that, as owners begin to or start and end of taking their things out of their units, they need someone to do that, booking the elevators, escorting people up. I know there was a deadline, so we've seen an influx of individuals wanting to get to their units as well. So we do need people to sign in and out and be escorted up and doors unlocked for that.
Once the weather changes and we get into the depth of the winter in January and February, there was going to be a lot of building monitoring that's going to need to be done. Somebody's going to have to be patrolling the building on a regular basis and surveying all the areas of the building to make sure that we have satisfactory ventilation and heating to protect the building.
Any other comments? Okay, we'll move the agenda then. Tracy, the treasurer's report.
Yes, let me pull that up. All right, so for the month of October, our operating count ended in the month of October is $140,714.10. Our reserve account, not including the check that we just received, is $8,130,922. Our total current assets ending October is $9.273 million. Our prepaid ending in October is about $52,000. In the month of October, we paid Hunt Builders for cleaning up the shaft, the elevator button, and finishing out the handrails. Legal fees for Hunt. We had some legal bills we needed to pay from Finney Law Firm regarding litigation and general corporate fees as well. And those were the invoices that were paid during the month of October.
Thank you.
Any questions on the financials?
Unmute John.
So thank you, Tracy. I'm going to throw out a suggestion. Do with it what you want. People here are strapped for cash as they're paying. Everybody knows that. That's no secret to everybody. One of the things I was thinking about was the interest that we're receiving off of our reserves. $8 million at 3.5% is around $23,000 per month. If we get the other 8,000 or 8 million, that'll be another 23,000 per month. Why aren't we using that amount of money to reduce our dues, since it's interest, not principal, interest? I was doing some math. If we just use 23,000 on the first 8 million, On mine, that would be like a reduction of $167. If you wait and get the reserves up with the other insurance payment, it would be a reduction of $334. In other words, you're looking for my unit, $800 down to $465. And again, I'm just talking about the interest. Wouldn't that be a wonderful holiday gift to everybody and help us survive? I mean, I know you have some fat built into the budget with how we did it and the extra and to help for the ones not paying, but it seems like maybe we could use that interest because I know people are struggling right now. That's all. I hope you'll consider that.
And I think we have a motion that we had decided earlier to consider, which we'll deal with later. And I think we can comment on your suggestion, John. So Tracy, do you have more of your report?
So just a comment, regarding what John said. Yes, John, that is an idea. To Greg's point, we, have a motion, regarding something to that nature. But the interest income is actually in that account. So we just need to think about, right? It's either that account, the operating account, but it's all the same pool of money. And so we'll have further conversations. I think Tom is gonna have a motion to take care of some of that going forward. So we hear you.
Randy?
Yeah, someone asked, what are the delinquency numbers? Do you have those, Tracy?
Yes. Give me 1 second here. Bar is loading really, really slow.
It is right around 722,000.
Yep, so, oh, you just beat me to it. $722,000. And that includes those who are 30 days, 60 days, and 90-day delinquent for their dues. So again, when we're pulling this report around this time of the month, we're trying to make sure we include everything. So if there's late payments coming in the month, we want to make sure we capture that as well. So it's around 722 as of the end of the month.
Randy?
Yeah, before we move on from the money, there's a chat question about Tracy mentioned people coming into the building to move things. People are saying they thought the deadline was the 15th of the month. Somebody asked, are these people who are late coming in and moving their stuff, are they being charged for uh, the the money that it costs us for the personnel to accompany them? Those kinds of questions. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I think let's hold that. We have a motion about that. It was an item on our agenda, so let's finish the financial report first.
Oh, I thought we had. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was it, Greg or John.
Okay, do you have a count, the number of units that are delinquent? Did Greg provide that?
He did. Let me do the count because the way he has it in this document, it's individualized. But let me get that really quick.
Should we come back to you?
Yeah.
So I think in
Okay.
regards to some of those questions that the 15th was the deadline and that has primarily been accomplished. I think Tracy's comments were partially or mostly maybe in reference to what it took to get to this point.
Okay, so we'll move the agenda, and if there's a pause, then Tracy will get back to you on the number of delinquencies. So the next item I have is a committee to sell. Jan, that's your committee?
Yep, thank you. So officially we are still at 7 needed signatures. However, we got one in today. It's just that it wasn't on the form. We need to check a couple things to be sure that it's good. But I think it may be, or if it isn't, it won't take much to fix it. We've also been told that another one is in the mail, which will put us down to 5, which is 97% in, or 3% remaining. out of those five, well, another thing, Tom Deeds has really worked hard to put together a timeline, excuse me, a timeline, which you'll hear more about that, I think tomorrow, or maybe, I don't know if you'll hear more about it tonight or not, but at any rate, he's done a wonderful job. It addresses all the questions that a couple of the people who have not signed had about how the disbursement of the money will be done and when, and there's a lot of steps to this process yet, and he addresses many of those in this letter. So you'll be seeing more about that in the very near future, and that should address, I think, two of these five people. So we're getting very close. I think that's all I have, unless there are any questions.
Any comments, questions from the board? Randy?
Do you want a chat question?
If it's about this, sure.
Yeah, how many of the owners who have not signed are also in default with their fees?
I don't sort them by that. I don't know.
And I would just add that we don't look at it that way. I think the committee and the board members and all owners have done a great job in getting to where we are now, 173, which is pretty amazing, even though, yes, we need the 7 more. And I think the way to do it is still continues to be to patiently talk to all these owners. And I think the owners are well aware that the disbursement of funds and the selling of the building is dependent upon them signing that form. And let me add also with Tom's list, what's going to be coming soon is, and we need more legal advice on this, is people are going to have to sign a title for the quitclaim deed. And so that's going to have to be a notarized format, and that will be coming after the period of due diligence.
So
There's a
looking good, but we're
question.
not quite
Oh.
there. Go ahead.
Sorry, there's a question in the chat about, do we expect any to recant? And another question about the delinquency. There are a couple, but not that changes anything with the delinquency. We are working really, really hard to get these individuals on board. And if there is a way, like you said, Tom Dees and Jan, they're doing a great job. But if there's any personal relationships with any of these individuals, please reach out to them. Because to the point earlier, people are struggling financially, right? And so everyone is in a different situation right now. And if those individuals who have not signed are delinquent, then it is what it is, right? So we're just encouraging everyone to try to assist in getting these last votes.
Yep, Randy.
Another chat question, would the buyers set a closing date if we don't have 100% ready to agreeing to sell?
I do know that Isaac and Venture have gone back and forth with a number of points on the contract. I don't have a date when we'll have the contract, but I think they're getting closer to agreement. Once the contract is signed, then we have 60 days of due diligence, I believe, and then 60 days after that period is over to sign the contract. Not only do we need 100% at the closing, but I think that we need it well before the closing. And there was always the risk that Venture may walk away if they think we're not going to get to that point. At this point, I think I'm optimistic we're going to get it. But the 60 days, I believe, starts, as somebody else has said, when we sign the contract.
You can set, I think the answer is you can set the closing date, but you can't close.
Right, exactly.
There's another
right.
question that says, I thought the 60 days started tomorrow. I think that's based on the fact that Venture and Isaac are going back and forth on some issues, right, John?
Yeah, I think the 60 days starts when you sign the contract.
It does.
Yeah, Randy.
And on that same thing, Venture actually went ahead and I think they came in today sort of start unofficially doing their due diligence, I think.
Right,
want
and
to-
I think we noticed in a one call that they had asked to inspect the unit, so they have been in the building as effective today. All right, let's move on then. Randy, you want a legal committee report?
Yeah. The three suits that are still out there, the Burnham case, not much new there. I think we may have reported this at the last meeting, but I'll say it quickly again. Burnham's lawyers and their insurance company have ceded the $500,000 that their policy would cover for liability. And right now, Hammond North and the insurance companies that have brought suits are in the mediation process to determine how that $500,000 is going to be divided between the parties. In the Porter case, a mediator has been decided upon tentatively. His name is Jack Scott. All the parties involved are fine with him being the mediator. Right now, Mr. Scott is having to check his own history to see if he has any conflicts of interest with anybody. This is very complicated. What with 180 owners here in Hammond North, Town Properties that owns properties and all over the place, and Hunt, who has done business with who knows how many people around the county and area, and TRS as well. So he has got a huge job just trying to make sure that he is clean here, that he has no conflicts of interest with anybody connected with any of these organizations. That would cause him to disqualify himself for ethical reasons. So we're waiting on that. We have asked that the mediation start before the holidays. Most of the lawyers think that's probably pretty unlikely, but at any rate, that's where that stands. With the Cross Creek case, it's going back and forth with offer, counter offer, counter offer. Right now, the ball is in Cross Creek's court. He made a counter offer. We countered that, and yeah, it's his turn now to decide if he'll accept our counter or if he wants to come back with something else. So I think that covers our three litigation situations.
Any questions? Jim? No, okay.
Marion.
Marion?
Given the fact that the mediator will need so much time to check to see if he qualifies, would it be in our best interest to have a backup to look for someone else who might also be good in case the first one has to recuse himself or herself?
That's an
Yeah,
interesting idea.
Yeah, I would, yeah, that's probably not a bad idea to ask Ian to look into that.
They've had a dreadful time just trying to find somebody who can handle the complexity of the case, but absolutely, we should be trying to do that just in case.
Yeah, although it's a good idea, the problem is, do we ask somebody, a mediator, to go through all the hoops of doing all the background checks when we can't say that they would have their job? I like the idea of having backups, but I'm not sure in that field mediation that can be expected.
Well, maybe we can
ask.
find out when he will let us know.
Now, they did have a list of names, and as John and Jan have said, we went through a few of those that either we couldn't agree on them, well, not us, but the lawyers couldn't agree on them, or yeah, just for whatever reason, the mediators thought that was something they couldn't handle. We're down to Jack Scott. I think they have other names in the, in reserve. But as John said, I don't think we can ask another mediator to also start spending his time to determine if he has any conflicts of interest or not until the coast is clear for him totally.
Yeah, I think that's sort of been the problem so far, is that we've gone down a list of several names already, but you can't go to the next one until the one that you're considering says, no, I can't, or somebody else says, no, they can't.
Yeah, Randy.
Yeah, there's a chat question. Can you explain the Croskery case?
Yeah, I noticed that. I made a note, and I can reach out and talk to Tom, but basically it's owners who felt that their unit was not repaired and that they were unable to sell the unit. And that's the allegation against the board. And we're in litigation. We're trying to resolve it.
Yeah, they're trying to hold the board responsible for the deterioration of the price of their unit, and they want the difference between what they think they could have gotten for it and what they're going to get for it.
Okay. So, Tracy, is there more in the financial report if we move along for you to report?
That was it.
Okay. And do you have the numbers for delinquency? Did you find those?
Oh, I put them in the chat, 44.
Okay, fine. Okay, that's good. So the next one is building and grounds. I think that's Jan.
We have not met, but we're looking at a couple of building contracts that need to be renewed, and Greg is researching those. Or he has the information about them actually. And I think we're just going to probably communicate about that mostly by email. One is snow removal, which we do need a contract on that, even though it's just you pay as you need or as you use the service. And what was the other one, John?
There's irrigation and landscaping, two other contracts.
Irrigation.
I believe it's with the sprinkler system.
Oh,
For
okay.
your,
Okay, so we have to find out about those.
Yep.
Yeah, I think these were all significantly reduced last year.
Right.
And my thought process is that it's probably going to be, I don't know that we can cut them any more than we did last year. So they may just be a rollover of the significantly reduced amounts
Right.
that we had last year.
Yeah, well, I did notice, I mean, the snow contract is just for this winter. It expires in April of 26. However, I believe at least one of the other two goes through December of 26. So we have to see in the circumstances that if the building sells, that the contract is voided.
Yeah.
Okay. The next item I have is actually, yes, would be Tom. Do you have a motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that once we have all signatures committing to sell the building, that we immediately stop collecting monthly HOA fees from all owners. So what this would mean is if we get the last 5 or 6 signatures committing to sell before December is due, then no HOA monthly fee will be collected until the sale's complete.
Is there a second? Chris seconds it. Discussion.
So Oh, sorry.
Sorry, then Tracy.
I guess one of the things I'm wondering about is what about the people who are seriously delinquent?
I could answer to that. They still would owe money, which when the building sells, that would all have to be adjusted. But I would not expect them to have fees going forward once we get the signatures to sell.
Plus you're prohibited from discriminating.
Right.
Tracy? I'm sorry, Jan. Tracy,
No, Tracy was next.
No. Yes, Tom, I think I could be for it, just with a caveat is that, even though we get these last signatures, there will be ongoing operational costs. And we just talked about winterization and other things. So with this motion, we also do need to understand that those operating expenses will need to come from somewhere. And so whether that's the reserve account or if that's from insurance, I just want to make sure that everyone's clear. Like, I agree with the motion, but just know as we continue to move throughout this process to sell, that I will give another report to report out on what is in those reserve accounts, which will be minus some of those expenses. So I'm just putting it out there.
Okay.
other board members' comments? Randy?
Yeah. Okay, let's run through a scenario. If we get all of the remaining people to sign, and so we say, okay, no more HOA fees. What if Venture decides, heaven forbid, but what if they decide they use one of their outs and decide not to buy the building, and we have to go to a partition? Do we reinstate HOA fees then? Or do we continue forever until the partition concludes with no fees?
I would think you would have to assess the situation at that time, should it occur, because there were other bidders for the building.
Jan, did you have a question?
Yes, I would feel more comfortable if we put some kind of a time limit on this, at which point it would go back to the other way or would call for a reassessment, such as, I don't know, 6 months or something like that. I don't know.
Well, right now, the date the contract is signed, there'll be 120 days till closing.
Right. As long as that all goes okay.
Yeah, true.
So maybe that's the timing that we use is 4 months.
Give yourself an out.
With a caveat that if for some reason the building does not sell 60 days after that point, that we either reinstate the fees or start to deplete the reserves to go the partition route.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think basically the 180 days will expire sometime in March, or it depends on when the contract is signed.
120 days.
Sorry, and it strikes me that we could suspend it. We don't want to suspend it in the middle of a month and people scrambling partial months. That's just too complicated. I'd suggest if we wanted a time period, we could set April 1st. I think that makes some sense. At the same time, if we can always, I think you're right, situations can change. But if they do, then we pass a new resolution.
Right.
And then what about if the last payment comes in the middle of the month? Are we going to prorate that and refund, or what happens there?
No.
My advice is you
Explain
do
that again.
everything on the first of the month.
Right.
I'm sure Greg would appreciate that.
Yeah.
So whenever we get 100%, that means the first of the next month, there is no fees due.
Even if there's one remaining?
Yes.
Well, it's 100% is what
Has to be 100.
100%.
Yeah.
That's the motion.
I'm not advocating that. I'm just repeating what I know.
And I can see a time limit on this, but only to reassess our financial position at that point and determine what we need or need to do going forward, which may mean that it continues or not. But there does have to be some right at some future date if everything falls apart to reinstate.
Right. Right.
You accept that as a friend.
And I think
All
this will
right.
also be an incentive, Tom, to your point, to encourage individuals to sign. And then that way we can all keep money in our pockets until we get through the contract process.
All right, we have two owners. John, if you can just pause a minute, let's unmute Carolyn, given she didn't have a question earlier. Carolyn, go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, for 136 of us who have been paying for 4 years now, it's pretty offensive. But I think you're looking at this the wrong way. First of all, if you look at the budget doesn't even balance. The top number of the budget doesn't match the bottom number of the budget. Your income doesn't match your expenses. So I think the first thing board needs to do is go back and look at that budget and go look at what your actual expenses are. The second thing is snow removal. Please, there's nobody in the building. Somebody made a comment about it. Why do we need snow removal? Well, yeah, I understand that there's probably some people who have to come and go, but they don't need to clean the whole lot. They can just do a little path around it. The other thing is, why don't you consider John's question? Get the budget figured out. Figure out where we are with our expenses, because I don't think you know where we are with the expenses. Because your budget doesn't balance. So then if you just use the interest money, if the budget balances, you may have enough money left in the operating account plus the income, if all of our expenses are being cut, and you can cut some more to cover it. Because I can tell you right now, it's going to be damn hard to get people who have been so strapped for finances to put money back in the pot. So you either need to just reduce the fees substantially, or you're going to have, I just really believe you're going to have a problem with getting people to pay again. I'm
Point
done.
taken, and it's a difficulty, but the main question is whether we want to pass the motion that's been made and
Well,
seconded.
I think it's a bad motion.
All right, thank you. John?
I would agree with Carolyn. None of us want to pay dues, but I think there's 3 points you need to consider. Number one, you can look up liens up on the Hamilton County website. There's no that we don't know how many haven't signed or not, but if I haven't signed, I'm not paying dues. You think this is going to encourage me to sign? No, I'm just going to not pay the dues, and so I think that's an unattainable amount. I think the other thing is when you start messing with Greg and prorating and going through that, town has trouble doing that because it messes up their normal standard of calculating dues. That's not a fault of Greg necessarily. It's how their accounting system works, and you're going to create issues there and cause Greg a lot of headaches there. And I think third thing, you're stopping and then you're starting. Again, if once I stopped, why am I going to start back again? There are ways to reduce this and get savings to people, just like that extra income from interest that we could reduce on there. Again, I'd like not to pay dues either, but I just think this is a bad financial decision for our condominium, and I worry about this decision.
Thank you. Any board members want to respond?
Yeah, so I would like to respond. So really quick, I will say that the budget does balance. So Carolyn, if you want to sit down and go through it, I'm more than happy to do that. The other point is, as we mentioned, John, to your point, the stopping and the starting is an issue, but I also said we can also use the reserves to cover us until we get through the partition action if we do not get 100%. So those are ideas to not to have to restart. Obviously, the building will need to continue to operate as long as we do not get 100%, and we'll just need to figure it out when that time comes. We can head down the path of, leveraging the reserves, and the interest that we make on those accounts go to our account anyhow. So it's one pool of money that we can also talk about when we get to that point.
Yeah,
All right.
I got something to
Yes,
say.
go ahead, Tom.
I mean, you can be an optimist or a pessimist, but I'm optimistic that if we get the signatures to sell, that this deal will go through.
All right, if there are no other board comments, I'll call the question. All those in favor of Tom's motion, raise your hand.
Wait, could we
Uh,
discuss it a little more?
Sure, go ahead.
Because I've had this same concern about what if we would ever need to restart it. I don't think we will because of the amount that we have. I'm not sure if it's in reserves, but the amount that we've gotten from Landmark in comparison with the amount, or in addition to the amount that we have. It is a worry. I would personally prefer, well, I don't know if it'll be any different. Like a month off from dues or two, I love the incentive of it. I love the incentive of it. But and I wouldn't fight it, but it makes me a little nervous.
And I would just say the intention is not to start it again.
I know.
The intention is that we're moving along, selling the building. We have 100%. We get everybody to sign a quitclaim deed. We close the deal. The building is sold. We settle lawsuits and we disperse the money. Chris?
To Tracy's point, we have $16 million that we currently have in reserves and in landmark money. So that will go a long way. That will get us through the petition process. If we have to go, we may not have much left, but that will get us through the petition process. So I am optimistic like Tom, and I think what we are doing is offering an incentive to those people who haven't signed, regardless if they have been paying their dues or not. If they haven't been paying their dues, the amount of money that they are in arrears will stop increasing. So
The other thing, Tracy, and I think we covered this, I don't know if we covered it in depth in this meeting or not, but that $16 million is going to be generating over $500,000 in interest. So we're going to have $500,000 right off the top to put towards keeping the building going.
Brandy and
And
then
of
Mary.
course, I was just gonna respond, of course, we're putting the cart before the horse. We need to get the other votes, right?
We
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Brandy and then Mary.
Yeah, along the lines of Tim, just following up on that. Remind me, what was our yearly budget when we did this early last summer? What did we decide is the amount we need to run this building for a year?
It's around $950,000. I
Yeah,
think.
So if Tim
982.
is correct that we get 500,000 from from interest, we don't need any more dues.
Well, we still need 400,000 a year.
Right.
So that will whittle away. I mean,
Why do
but
we
it would
need
take
400,000 a year?
to get to our budget. If the budget is the same at
I thought the budget
950,000.
was 900. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we
982.
would need 4.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's in terms of percentage, it's even in 2 years, that would mean $1 million less in reserves. It would mean the numbers that Tracy has presented would change and it would be a little less of a payoff. But let me also add, since it's been raised in the chat about mortgages, even with a slight reduction, and we have the numbers of what the mortgages are now by the owners and the arrears and combine that debt. And there, as far as I can tell, there are only 3 owners who would be underwater. And we believe even those 3 situations, their banks would get the majority of their loans. So how that would play out, either petition or direct sale, we don't know. But I still think it's a fiscally responsible, reasonable step to make for the owners. And again, in a situation where get 100% of the owners to sign the form.
Could we address the questions? There have been a couple of them in the chat about the perception that people.
Okay, Jan, Marion has had her hand up. Let's do Marion
Okay.
and then we'll do the chat. Marion?
Okay.
Oh, Marion, unmute yourself again.
Okay, yeah. Wouldn't it be safer to say that the HOA would stop at the point of closing? Then you don't have to backtrack in any way, because we did point out that the money would not be dispersed until the lawsuits were settled. So if the closing came before the lawsuits, people wouldn't get any money, and it would be very important then that they not be putting out any more. So that's my thought.
Well,
So,
Marion, once closing occurs, there are no more HOA fees and there are no more expenses
That's true.
incurred to support the building.
Yeah, just legal expenses perhaps.
Okay,
so.
okay.
Never mind. What
So
about the
Jan,
people who are commenting that the people who've been paying fees all along are coming out on the bad end of this, and why don't we just stop paying our fees and we'll be given the same consideration? What consideration? I'm not sure.
Well, Jan, the people that have not been paying their fees
Yeah,
and the building sells either through a partition or a direct sell, like is the most advantageous. The amount they owe will be, and the amount they get will be adjusted. The amount they get will be
right.
adjusted. So it's not like it's not going to, the people that didn't pay will not escape being adjusted.
and add to that, it also means there are late fees and there are also legal costs if there's a lien applied to those.
Yeah, and the amount of money that they are in arrears is still gaining interest at 1.5% a month, 18% a year.
So
So,
that's not true that people are getting off.
well, they're not
No.
getting off.
Yeah.
It's just not being, they're just not accumulating additional debt. The debt they have, they still have, and that debt is, they're being charged interest on that debt.
Well, and I think, we're getting a little sidetracked, because at the end of the day, no one would have to pay fees. And it's not like they're getting any special treatment, right? We all feel like we need to stop paying, because we're all in financial struggles and situations. So although there are some who hit those financial struggles earlier than others, I think we all owe it to ourselves to be able to keep money in our pocket as we get through this process. We are still one whole community. It's as if we're acting divided. We're one whole community. We as one need to sell the building, and we as one need to say, hey, we're all strapped. We all have these situations. We all can, like, to John's point, have a Christmas gift of not having to pay fees anymore until we get through the sale. That's the point.
Jan, yeah, Randy?
I wonder, so if we continue to pay fees of some sort, then whenever the building is sold through partition or direct, either way, we would get some of that back. But my thought is, would it be better just to stop paying and get a little less when the building sells? In other words, keep our money now, because as Chris said, if we have $16 million, this building can go for 16 years. Well, it isn't going to go for 16 years. So in other words, yes, there would be less reserve money to divide up at the end of the sale, but we would have our money now, at least some of it. Am I wrong, or you know what?
You get a lot more through a direct sale. If you go through the partition, you could be 2 or 3 years out, and some people have said longer. And the longer
But if I'm not paying a monthly fee,
right,
even if it goes for 5 years, I'm putting that money in my pocket right now. Yes, I'll get a little less 5 years from now than if we were all paying our monthly fees.
Well,
But yeah,
Chris?
I mean, argue with that. I don't know.
I think the the best case scenario for us is to sell the building. And in order to sell the building, we need 100% of the owners to sign the consent to sell document. And then we need 100% of the owners to sign a quick claim deed. So to me, that should be our point of emphasis. And the incentive to stop paying dues is 100% of the ownership signing the consent to sell document. That is the incentive to get us on the track to sell the building.
And getting the most money for the sale of the building. As
Right.
you know, if we play out, hey, we are going to head down this partition action, if we want to be a pessimist about it, we're going to get less than half, right, for the building. So let's figure out how we get the 100%.
Yeah.
And
that's-
this it would not discontinue anybody's late fees or interest that they've already accrued. I mean, that will
Correct.
continue, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So do members feel comfortable, the board, to take a vote on this now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll call the question then. All those in favor of Tom's motion, raise your hand.
For how many months did we change? We didn't change it.
Oh,
We'll just reassess it.
Tom, why don't you read the motion again?
Okay. Okay, the motion is once we have received all signatures to sell the building, that we immediately stop collecting monthly HOA fees from all the owners. And what this would mean that if we get all signatures before December is due, then we do not pay any HOA fees going forward to the sale of the building.
Okay, so there's no time limit unless somebody wants to make amendment to the motion.
You have to always reassess, but I'm optimistic the deal closes in 120 days after contract signature.
Okay. All right. So we'll take a vote on that. Is that okay? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, thank you very much. All right, can I relinquish the chair to Tim so I can make a motion?
All right. John, do you have a motion to bring forward?
Yes. Given in the past, owners have received reimbursement for a variety of reasons on their laundry card. I move that owners can turn in laundry cards for reimbursement of funds through December 19th.
I'll second that.
Tim, you're in control.
All right, are there any discussion from the board? Jan?
I am likely to vote against this. I think, or how much do we have? Do we know that people are asking for?
I don't think we know.
I don't think we have any idea.
I just think.
I would expect it's a fairly minimum amount.
Yeah.
Yep, I would too.
Any further discussion? Can we mute Bruce? Bruce?
I think we don't know how much it's there. It seems like it might be more trouble than it's worth. I know we have a little on a couple cards, but it's, unless someone has a lot of money on the cards, you have to come in and you have to go through the accounting of it and, use up staff time. It just seems like, I know it's peeves people that they have this money on the card, but it seems like it's just more than it's not worth the trouble. That's all. Thank you.
Chris?
I am in agreement with that. I think it's petty. So
let me just say, it has been
So,
past, it has been past practice to reimburse. It is people's individual money that they put on the cards. And I think that we should continue that practice. It has been a bit controversial. But I think we should do it. I don't expect many people to ask for the money and and then we can move on.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
I
going
think
to
it-
press you on that and ask you, what is the past practice?
As far as I know, when there was trouble with any laundry, we don't have Greg here, laundry or washer or dryer, that he would reimburse owners who said that they had trouble with the machine. And I believe that Linsall in the past reimbursed for laundry cards.
Well, I don't think we're talking about trouble with the machines here. So I'm done with my comments.
Yeah, I think it might create some goodwill by reimbursing people's laundry cards.
Okay, any further okay, Mary?
Just unmute.
There might be a few people who have $20 on there and they would like reimbursement, and the rest of them don't care, but it is a goodwill gesture, I think. And I don't think it's going to be 180 people coming in to,
If you add up
Yeah.
just the administrative costs, pay those cards off.
Tom is talking about the administrative cost involved. So I don't know.
Online.
I would think that a few people might really benefit a few people. That's all.
Tracy?
Yeah, it might benefit a few people. And administrative is not much. You stick your card into the machine and tell you what your balance is. Like, it's that simple. It's not, terribly, detailed. But there were some owners who asked for reimbursement, and that has been a practice. So it may be, some help to people. And those who says it's petty or don't want to worry about it, then we wouldn't expect them to ask for reimbursement if they have money on their card. So it's up to the individual owner.
Randy?
There is a statement on chat. I assume it says if owners moved, they were reimbursed. Greg's not here, so I don't know. If that is true, then I think we have a precedent there.
That's Lynn, who, while she was here, it was happening. I don't know if it went under Greg or not, probably. Let's just vote. Let's get this done.
Okay. All right, so I call for the vote. All those in favor of the laundry card reimbursement motion, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those opposed? 1. All those abstaining? Did you vote for it, Jan, or abstain?
I abstained.
Okay, so it ends up being 4 to 2 to 1. Motion passes. Or 4 to 2 to
4-1-2.
4-1-2. Excuse me. Motion passes. John, I turn the meeting back over to you.
Okay, thank you. Tracy, is there a motion about partial payment for owners who have liens?
Yes. So I would like to make a motion to accept checks from unit owners with liens. Back in September 2025, the previous board approved a lien payment policy on the advice of legal counsel. The proposal, we added an 8th point. So I move that the Hammond North Board accept partial payment for owners with liens while preserving the current lien. This motion will put monies back into the Hammond North operating account, but their lien will still be preserved. Currently, we do not accept those payments.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jan seconds. Any discussion?
I think this was discussed with Isaac and right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He directly advised us that we can do that.
Yeah.
This was not the advice that previous boards had received, but we've double checked that with Isaac. And he says, as long as we're clear that we're not voiding the lien, that we can accept checks.
Yeah, so that's got to be noted. That's got to be noted on the checks, right? That this, I don't know. He had some language in there on what to put on the check.
Yeah, that was a one particular case that we needed language. He may want it for this, so we'll have to clear that up. Any other discussion then? Okay, there's no discussion. I call the question. All those in favor? Okay, unanimous. Okay, announcements. Old business, winterization, HVAC. It's Tim.
I am out of town right now. I haven't talked to Greg for a few days. We had a meeting with 4-Star last week to go over the plan to get the building winterized. We're still working on the exact plan, as some of the units are in different shape than other units, so we're working on that plan, but 4-Star is getting some units involved right now. We're following the recommendation of Halpy Engineering on the amount of heat that the building needs to stay warm. The good news is that Greg, I mentioned earlier on that when we get into the colder days, it's going to take a lot of monitoring to make sure that all the extremities of the building and all the areas of the building stay satisfactorily ventilated and heated. The good news is that during those 3 days or so that we had temperatures in the 20s, the building stayed pretty. It stayed pretty warm. It stayed in the upper 40s to the low 50s in most of the parts of the building. So, but we do need to get some more units installed for those days when we have 20 degrees for a week or two. I will when I get back in town, I'll get with Greg and we'll refine that. We'll refine the plan and go over what 4-Star has identified as they go.
Chris?
Is 4-Star in the building 5 days a week now?
They had been there every day after. I haven't, like I said, I'm out of town, so I don't know. But from the day that we told them to start, they had been in the building every day. Okay. And I think they have varying crew sizes, but they are doing work every day.
Okay, I was in the building last Wednesday and there were 4 trucks from 4-Star out front. And I just didn't know if they were coming every day or if they were 2 or 3 days a week, what their schedule was. So
yeah, I think they're working it in as best they can. I was there last week also, and there were 4 or 5 trucks. But I came back later in the day and they were down to like 1 truck. So I think they're flexing their crews to us as they can.
Okay.
Any other comments? All right. I passed over another motion about access to the building, which did come up before about what's going on there. So, basically its background, there are a limited number of owners who are still removing different possessions from the building. So we had a motion. Chris, do you have that? The motion we were going to make?
I do have that, and I would like to make that motion. So the motion regarding access to the building, permission to enter the building must be submitted in advance in an email request to Greg and to board officers with approval from Greg or from a board officer. and that would be John, Morwitz, Tim Fritz, Tracy, or Randy. Owner is responsible for providing a printed copy of approval to the guard in order to enter the building. Everyone entering the building must complete all information requested on the sign-in sheet. If there are any questions, they need to be answered by Greg or an officer of the board. Again, that's John, Tim, Tracy, or Randy. There will be no access to the building outside of the town properties normal office hours, generally Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Is there a second?
I'll
A
second it.
second.
All right, Tom seconds it. Discussion. It's obviously not a great situation. People have had plenty of warning, but people have their lives, and hopefully this is winding down, especially as we're losing the maintenance staff to assist in some of these moves. So hopefully this procedure will not carry on that much longer. Any other discussion? Randy?
Does this interfere or is this affected at all by Venture's due diligence period?
It's a good question. I can raise it with Isaac, or you could ask Isaac, but I don't think so. And I think there's only one particular owner where there's significant amount of possessions in their unit that may be a problem. But with 179 other units, I don't think so. And in terms of the chat question, the board can decide, we will discuss an executive session about what are the consequences for the one owner with possessions left. Thankfully, we had two other owners and in the past 2 months, and they have all their stuff out. Storage bins also, I believe, have been removed. And we don't envision having the owners pay for the access, but that's part of the duties of the staff who are still around. So let's unmute Bruce.
Does this limit the access to the box in the lobby also? We have an election coming, and we also have people who may want to deposit their permission slips in the box that's in the lobby.
It's a good point, and I don't see this envisioning changing access to the lobby, both for dropping off fees and for access to the ballot box. That shouldn't change.
Thank you.
The loading dock question, that again is we didn't see the procedure changing. That has to be talking to Mickey and Greg to get access to the loading dock. At this point, would like that access. Greg would not like that access to be on the weekends, and there's limited staff here, so we'd like it to be during the week. Any other comments? All right, call the question. All those in favor of the motion that Chris made, do you raise your hand? Okay, it passes unanimously. All right, the next item of business that I had, and it didn't really assign anybody Venture in the building. People have mentioned it before that Venture is in the building. We signed an agreement. They get have access to the units, and they are in the building inspecting it and looking at the units and investigating more of what's going on. I don't think there's anything more unless a board member says there's anything more updates with Venture. Okay. So the last item that I have on this is the election procedure. Rhonda, if you could raise your hand electronically, then I think that we can unmute you. Your front is on. Could someone toggle through the people on? Oh, there she is. Okay. Okay. There
Okay,
you go.
okay. Sorry, I couldn't figure out where the little electronic hand was. So, hold on. So, hello, everyone. Just wanted to let you know that the election season for the Hammond North Board is here again, and the election committee has already met twice. The committee is made up of myself, Rhonda Whitten, Bruce Fairbanks, Barbara Hanley, Susan Hoskins, and Janet Schoenbachler. There will be 3 openings for the board as the terms for John Moravitz, Jan Welsh, and Tom Deeds are up on February 5th, 2026. By December 1st, they will let us know if they will run again for the board, and we will inform you soon thereafter. At that time, candidate forms for any owner who's interested in running for the board will be available through the office. Stop by the office if you're in town and would like to pick one up personally, or you can call the office and have them email or send you the form by mail. The completed form must be turned in by December 30th at 4:30 p.m. So that means that in early January, you will be informed as to who is running, and then we will remind you of the dates. Candidates night will be held on Thursday, January 24th, and the election will be held on Thursday, February 5th. A reminder to you all that in order to vote in this election, you must not be in arrears according to the governing documents. That is also true for anyone who wants to run for the board and who is filling out the candidate's form. A reminder will be going out in the November and December invoices to those people who are in arrears as a reminder that you can't be in order to vote or to run. In early January, you'll receive the notice of the candidates who are running and their information. Also be reminded of those dates. And I think that's it. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board? From the owners? Okay. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Chris?
If there are no more than 3 people who elect to run, there will be no election. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, Rhonda, I don't know if you said that. I didn't hear you say that. And if
Okay.
you, sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you for saying that. I did not, and I meant to.
Okay. If there are no other comments, I think we can call this, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. All right, all those in favor of adjournment? All right. Okay. All right, thank you very much.
John,
You want
And
to
then we-
chat?
get the chat.